And good evening. My name is Ryan Belmore. I am the owner and publisher of What's Up Newp. It is 8 p.m. on the dot, and joining me this evening is Mr. Frank Prosnitz, one of our wonderful news editors. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing all right. It is 8 o'clock. Polls just closed. A reminder, if you happen to be watching this and there is a line, I doubt there is, anyone in line as of 8 p.m. will be allowed to cast their ballot, so stay in line if you are in line and there happens to be a line, because you can still vote.
Only once.
Only once. And Mr. Prosnitz, a lot to break down. I will preface, and we're going to say this many times, we will not know the results and we will not call any races this evening, because it is looking like, and I'm waiting for an update from the Board of Canvassers in Newport, that it's possible that there were more mail ballots requested than actually people that showed up at the polls today, just to give people an idea of what is going on out there.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers we have, 1,602 mail ballot applications, 204 early in-person voting. So that's a lot of people.
It is. And, you know, some of the other numbers here, let's see if I can pull them up, is we had 200 people in-person early vote, as you mentioned. Let me see what other numbers I had for you. Well, just a short while ago, the Rhode Island Board of Elections put out that 44,386 voters cast their ballot at the polls today. That's as of about 15 minutes ago.
44,386.
Yes.
I hope we had a lot of mail-in ballots, because that sounds like a pretty sad turnout.
Yeah, the last time I talked, you know, there were about 165 mail ballots have been collected from the drop box at Newport City Hall. We are expecting an update from the city of Newport. They are going to provide me details as soon as they close the polls. So we will have a final number. We'll also be watching election results, and we'll bring those up on screen for you. Of course, 1,600 mail-in ballots, and let's get that breakdown for you, because obviously it matters more in Ward 3 than anywhere else, really. And we have those numbers. And let's see, 1,602 applications for mail ballots. That does not mean that every one of them will be returned. 386 were requested in Ward 1, 652 in Ward 2, and 564 in Ward 3. So very important to point that out. Also to point out that these are unofficial results that you'll hear about this evening. And how it is saying now is that everything's going to be tabulated. The early in-person votes will be counted tomorrow, which is Wednesday. The mail ballots will be counted by Thursday, Friday. We're expecting an answer, at least on the Newport City side, by Friday morning, because at 1:30 on Friday, they are tabulating. They are pulling the lottery of how people end up on the ballot in November. So hopefully they know by then.
There are other major races around the state also. For mayor in Warwick, should be interesting, although I live in Warwick and I haven't seen a whole lot of activity. I've seen the current mayor, Solomon, but I've not seen much from his opponent. We have some major major legislative races, some in our area. We've got three primaries in and around Aquidneck Island. You've got, we've got Rep 71. We've got John Edwards, the 5th, versus Michelle McGaw. In 72, it's Chris Seminelli, who is challenging Terry Denise Cotfriend. And in 74, Deborah Ruggiero, the incumbent, is being challenged by Henry Lombardi, a councilman from Middletown, and the winner of that is the winner of the race. There is no Republican in that race. So those are three important positions. And then when you look up in Providence, at Providence and Warwick, actually, where you have some of the major statewide positions, you've got all the Senate leadership positions are being challenged by progressives. Those will be very interesting. Ruggiero and Metz and that crew all are facing some pretty pretty stiff challenges, and we'll be interested to see how those go as well. So, an interesting evening, I would think.
It sure is, and we'll the results will be uploaded. We won't leave the screen up the entire time. We'll wait for it to start updating. But polls did close at 8. Updates will occur every 5 to 10 minutes. We'll bring them to you here over probably the next, I would say, we'll probably do this. We'll plan on maybe up to 9 and see where we go from there. I did pop by one location in each of the 3 wards in Newport. I stopped by Thompson, Rogers, and Pell School earlier today. And, people were getting in and out, voting easily. Saw a lot of the candidates standing up front. Saw a lot of their loved ones, their family members. So at least the numbers are starting to show up here, even though there are more candidates than that. So we'll hope that the Board of Elections, and there we go. All right. So some interesting data to show. 8 will move on here from Newport City Council. There are 12 candidates.
8 from the at-large positions.
At large. 8 will move on to the general election, and then obviously 4 will be elected on November 3rd. Here are the 12 as they appear on the ballot. And looks like we might start seeing some results sooner than later. To give you an idea of how the logistics work, according to Tracy Nelson, who's the canvassing clerk, as well as the elections coordinator for the city of Newport, tonight after 8 p.m., the results from the 6 polling locations in Newport will be transmitted to this system you see now. And then they will transmit the results from the early voting tomorrow morning around 9 a.m. So that's another 200 votes that gets dropped in tomorrow morning. And then the mail ballots totals will be added once Board of Elections finishes scanning them on Thursday or Friday. That is when we will have unofficial final results, Tracy said. And then candidates will have the opportunity to challenge them. They'll have 24 hours if they wish.
And we often talk about what people have in their campaign accounts. Sometimes that works, and sometimes it's just how hard they get out there and meet people. It used to be before COVID-19 that candidates were expected to meet each voter 5, 6, 7 times over the course of an election. Now, when somebody comes to your door, you don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing. Some people may react really negatively. There's somebody who's campaigning door to door in this environment, and others will be more accepting of it. So, that'll be interesting as we go along.
It certainly will be, and let's see if anything's coming in from the state rep side of things. Nothing just yet.
Yeah, it's the numbers I expected.
Yes, yeah, that's the turnout today. So we'll sit here and watch these for a little while. It was interesting hitting up the polls today and just seeing people I felt like people were excited. I stopped by a coffee shop, and I think people are excited that the at-large is so large, the candidates, and it's going to be an interesting night, an interesting week, and hopefully we have results by Friday at noon.
So, Ryan, in the state Senate side, besides what we've got down here, we want to watch what's going on in District 1, where Mary Ellen Goodwin, the majority whip, is being challenged by Evan Lemoyne, who's a progressive. We want to look at number 4, where Dominic Ruggiero, who is the Senate president, is being challenged by Leonard A. Seo Jr., a progressive. We want to look at 6, also from Providence, where Harold Metz, president pro tempore, is being challenged by Tierra Mack, and there's also a Green Party candidate in that.
And Frank, here's some results.
No Republicans. So we're starting to get some numbers. Well, Jack Reed, I would expect he would get all those votes.
And we had Dylan on last week who was challenging, and this is only 27 of 280 precincts reporting. Very important to watch this number, and please don't take any of these numbers too serious. because more people, it appears, voted by mail, and we won't know the official numbers, but let's just go down here. This is an important one, representative in Congress District 2. This is who will challenge Langevin on the Republican side. And let's see here, who else is reporting? If you see any towns on here, Frank, that actually have numbers and want me to click on them, just yell them out.
Try Providence.
We'll dive up to Providence. Yeah. Let's see here. We'll see what they're doing. And Senator,
we've got Mary Ellen Goodwin in District 1 very early with a lead of 78-21.
Yep. And let me see what else we got here.
Go to number 4. Scroll down to 4. That's Ruggiero, Senate President.
Which one is it?
4.
State
District
Rep?
4. Senate District 4.
Oh, Senate. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get results from City Hall. And that's an interesting start.
Yeah. I don't know if that means anything, but
only 11% have voted so far.
Challengers is out in front. See what happens with that.
Yeah, that's for a name that I don't know well. That's an interesting start.
Now, I've looked at his website. It's kind of interesting. Another one that, let's see if we've got anything from Warwick yet.
Let's see here. Nothing from Warwick yet. We are North Providence. We have Johnston is reporting early here. Let's check the statewide summary and see what we got. We have 98 of 280 precincts reporting so far. That's 35%.
That's pretty good.
So it's moving along quick here. And we check on Conley versus Langevin. Lancia looks like he's doing pretty well against his Republican.
He's the endorsed candidate.
Here's Newport. And here we dive in. So again, the top 8 candidates do not take these numbers any serious. There's 6 of 7 precincts reporting right now. I'll tell you there are 1,600 mail ballots that have not been counted. There's another 200
mail ballot applications.
Mail ballot applications. Yep. So anything you see there, Frank, that surprises you?
No, I mean, it looks like it's right down every incumbent, including Segley, who is moving over from Ward 2 into at large. Seems to be doing well initially, but it's pretty bunched.
It is, and then you see the 3rd ward there, and you can see what they have going on. And
that's an interesting start as well.
Yeah, let me see here. So you got Paul Marshall, obviously, or maybe not obviously. Kate Leonard is the incumbent there. So Paul Marshall with a strong start there. Who else is?
But you got to keep in mind in that Ward 3 that 2 of 3 move on. So
yes,
if you don't win that particular race tonight, but you finish second, that's fine.
Yes, and so Paul, and then for the newcomers coming up here at large, let's see here. Kevin Rashad is a newcomer, and he's coming in at 3rd right now. Lynn Underwood Segley, as you mentioned, coming over from 2nd Ward, moving over to at large. Megan Landry, and then everybody else moving on down there. About 545 votes is the top vote getter right now. It's tough to look at the numbers because we're not sure how many of the 1,600 are going to be returned.
Right.
So let's jump around here. Let me do a refresh and see if any more than the 85%. We're still at 85. Let's jump over to state representative, and we will hit up our local. We are going to go with 71. And here we have Portsmouth, Tiverton, and Little Compton. And both of them are newcomers, as Dennis Canario retired. And we have two Democrats here. They will move on to face Amy Berry, a Republican, as well as an independent. And right now, Michelle, with 66% of polls reporting, is leading the pack, but those are small numbers.
Yeah, she's interesting, though. She's part of a statewide coalition that includes about 24 different candidates from council to legislative who are very much in a progressive camp and have been sharing certain consulting efforts, and they share a platform. So interesting to see that. That's I don't know how much is reported. Well, is this 2 of 3 precincts reporting? My goodness.
Yeah.
Everybody forget today was an election.
Well, that was also of note, is that was the only race in many of those areas today. So in Portsmouth, Little Tiverton, and Little Compton. And you know what I did, Frank, is I'm inviting people to join us here if they want to share anything. And let's see if we can do this quickly. And Lucas, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. I just have a question. What's the website for the Board of Election for Rhode Island?
ri.gov/election.
ri.gov/election.
All right.
Can you post it in the chat thing down there?
Sure, I can. Thank you. All right. Let's get back to the results there, Frank. And if any candidates are watching and want to join us.
You know who I'd love to hear from tonight is Dawn Oyer. If she's out there watching it all, it would be great if she called in or came in on our video cast. She doesn't have an opponent this year. I'd love to ask her about this progressive movement in the Senate and whether or not they're making a lot of gains in that area. They look that way. Oh, look, Lou DePalma's going to win.
Well, let me, this is only Middletown votes. So let me go to the actual state race here. And we are going to go with 72. And I apologize for everybody if I'm giving you a little. And here we are with 72. And what do you think there, Frank?
They've got about half of the race, the precincts reported. It's not unexpected where it is, but again, everything is up in the air until we see those mail-in ballots. But if mail-in ballots are going to be, if they're going to be, well, so it's hard to tell. So somebody has to request a mail-in ballot. So that means that they have an intent to vote. So I don't know. They may be even more mail-in ballots that count that are counted than actual walk-in voters today.
And here we go over to 74, Middletown and Jamestown.
Now that's 100% reported at this point. So they're going into the mail ballots. Deb Ruggiero has almost a 3-to-1 lead going into counting the mail ballots.
And these numbers are tiny. We can't pick on people too much because there are a lot of the 1,600 mail ballot applications that we were referring to was for Newport,
just for Newport
only. We do not have the numbers of for Portsmouth, Middletown, Jamestown. Just so many numbers here, there, and everywhere. But 343, 127. Cortland versus Seminelli, you're looking at 210 total votes. Let's see if we can hit anybody. 100% Newport. Here we go. So the numbers jumped up pretty good. Nothing moved. Interesting to see Jamie up top there. Napolitano historically has landed in the top spot, but of course
and she does very well with mail ballots. We know, so she should do fine. Kevin Mashad may be the surprise. I'm not sure.
I think he is. I think he is the surprise so far, Frank. Let me go down to how we're looking in Ward 3. I mean, Paul's a surprise as well.
He is, although it's they will have to, if it ends up the way it is, he'll have to face off with Leonard in the general election. And I know she's not going to like me saying it, but she has a financial advantage, and that gets you advertising, gets you lawn signs, it gets you get out the vote campaign, all of those things. That's why fundraising, there's nothing wrong with it, and fundraising is very important. In these, it can get you a little bit of an advantage or a big advantage.
Sure can. And let's see what we have going on here. What other races do you want to check out right now?
Let's take a look at let's see how Warwick is doing. If that's if I think
sure.
That's
just a reminder, if there are any seats that share multiple towns, these are only the Warwick votes.
Well, that Senate is interesting. That Kendra Anderson is also another progressive. Marola is the incumbent, and interestingly enough, Marola had used campaign funds for personal use, so I think he's paying for that a little bit. Anderson very, very aggressive in the campaign on the phones, and interesting. Maida was pretty aggressive also, but. That's interesting to see Anderson. That would be a big win for the progressives in that area.
Sure will be.
Let's look at the mayor's race in Warwick. That would be very interesting to look at.
Let's see here, and I'm trying to get down to it. There it is. And you got Solomon coming in at 1,551 votes. And if everybody doesn't mind, I'm just going to scroll up and see how much of the vote is in. 75% of the vote.
Yeah.
Let's do a statewide summary and see what we have. We have 76% of the state polls in at this time. Let's see. Who else is reporting 100%? Let's hop over to Middletown. Obviously, some of these seats share multiple towns. So Terry Cortvrend did well in Middletown. Deborah did well in Middletown as well.
And that's interesting because Lombardi is a councilman, and so she's done well so far in Lombardi's hometown. And
let's stay in that district and jump over to Jamestown to see how 74 did. Dawn is getting some votes for District 13. And Deborah, who is a Jamestown resident, did pretty well in Jamestown. I'm just getting updates from the city of Newport. Total mail ballots collected today in the drop box were 152. 65 were actually from Thursday and Friday of last week. I included those in the 165 count I gave you earlier. 1,553 voted at polling locations today in Newport. And again, there are 1,600 mail ballot applications that are out. There are another 200 that voted early. And here is the tough number to swallow. There are 15,000 registered voters in Newport. And Frank, I'm going to jump off here for a moment. And because, well, let's do this first here. So that way we know what we're talking about. We're going to jump over to Newport. And let's see, Jamie Bova has 668 total votes. Again, these are unofficial. They're early voting. There's mail ballots. But let's bring on the mayor. And good evening, Mayor.
Hi, Jamie. How are you?
Sorry, I'm having a little trouble hearing you guys on my phone. So
That's okay.
And my headphones really quick. So excuse me if I...
Yeah, I'll let you do that while I go back to the results. It's all right. I'll let you do that, and I'll bring you right back up, Jamie. And while she does that, we appreciate her joining us. And
Ryan, did you know how many mail ballots actually were sent in, or do we know that yet in Newport?
We don't have the final number yet. Tracy just said she's just given me numbers from today and numbers for the last couple days.
looks like a little over between 200 and 300 at this point.
And 10% of registered voters showed up at the polls today.
Sad number.
1,553 voted at polling locations today. You add the 1,600, so that brings us to about 3,100. You add the 200 that early voted at City Hall, that's 3,300. We're at about 20-something percent. And there are, let me get my number, 15,578 registered voters. And let me see if I can bring Jamie up now. And hi, Jamie. How you doing?
Can you hear us, Jamie?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're pretty quiet.
I still can't hear you.
All right, let me see what's going on here.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay,
There we go.
Okay.
How's it
Ryan, I
going?
told you she had a
I'm just not
voice.
touching. I don't know what was happening, but it's working now.
It's all right. And well,
So-
first of all, I know it doesn't mean much, but but congrats on a overall decent day. What do you think of today?
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, like you said, there are still so many ballots left. So we won't know the real full results until I think Thursday or Friday. But still, I am very excited to see the results from the polls. I think I think it's great to see, and I think it shows that people are really supportive of what I've been working on over the past really 4 years, but especially the last 2 years.
And how do you think you did with mail ballots? Any indication?
I mean, it's so tough with mail ballots. I have talked to a good number of folks who were voting via mail, who were supportive, but it's tough to know the full scope. Just like anything else with voting, you're just kind of waiting for the results, and you don't want to jinx yourself or anything.
So, Jamie, when you were out campaigning, what was the sense you were getting on the school bond?
Well, I did primarily, I've campaigned via mail pieces and via phone because I didn't go door to door because I wasn't comfortable because of the pandemic. But everyone that I've spoken with primarily has been supportive of the school bond. I think the majority of people I've talked with have been supportive of the school bond and have reached out saying, we really have to get this bond passed. What can we do to get it passed? How can we keep working? And so we've actually got a fair number of residents in the city who are working on behalf of the group that's trying to get the bond passed, and phone banking and distributing palm cards and information and stuff like that. So that's a really big effort.
Jamie, I hate to put you on the spot, but it wouldn't be
But
live.
you're going to.
It wouldn't be live video if I didn't.
We voted, and it was unanimous. Put her on the spot.
Any surprises when you look at the results or anything? Do you make anything more than we do out of the results?
I think it's too early to tell. I mean, I think that are we 50-50 basically between in-person and mail at this point practically?
Yeah, Tracy Nelson, who is the canvassing clerk, elections administrator for all those watching for the city of Newport, said 1,553 voted at polling locations today. And she picked up approximately over the last couple days, 165 mail ballots were dropped off in the drop box at City Hall. 204 or so early voted, 1,600 requested mail ballot applications. So it's about 50% who, yeah. So we're looking at about 30%, 20% turnout, 20 to 30% turnout, maybe.
Which, I mean, isn't bad for a primary. And it's too early to really tell with the mail ballots how it's going to go. I mean, the polling locations could be an indicator, but they also could not, because it tends to be a different demographic that votes via mail. So
Do you think that people who picked up or sent in applications for mail ballots are more likely to vote than those who didn't and were either going to the polls today or sitting by their TVs?
I'll be honest, Frank, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, it's, especially this year, it's so hard to tell because, I mean, especially with the mail ballots, had so many more than we ever have with a primary. You never see this many mail ballot applications in a primary.
The presumption would be when we get to the general, it'll be much more than that, I would suspect.
I know. I think everyone's going to get a little heartburn over the mail ballots in the general.
Well, I think a lot of people are going to be afraid of long, long lines, and then they decide, we vote by mail, we can avoid that.
Yeah, I mean, I know that typically here in Newport, we don't have crazy long lines. We do a good job of moving people through and having enough polling stations and enough cubicles for people to vote in and everything, that you don't see those wicked long lines like you sometimes do in other places. But I don't blame people for not wanting to even think about waiting in line next to a whole bunch of strangers. This has been such a weird year for campaigning. I was talking to some of the other candidates at the polling locations today and just saying, how it feels so weird to not be going door to door. Especially, that's usually a huge tenet of my campaign is knocking on doors. And it feels super weird to not be doing it this year.
I had a strange situation today. This goes to the whole mail ballot thing, the whole post office thing. I had my delivery guy who was delivering late pulls up to my neighbor's house at about 2 or 3 minutes of 6. Delivers the mail, hops in his truck, and takes off down the street, skipping my house and a whole bunch of other houses. And I only suspect that it was because he wasn't going to get any overtime if he delivered the mail, so he just wasn't going to do it. And that worries me about the election in particular.
I mean, yeah, I think that on top of the pandemic, we have all the issues with the post office, and some of them are real and some of them are man-made. But it's a scary, weird year.
Yeah.
I don't know any other way to put it.
Jamie, no pressure at all if you want to attribute your results with the great video series that we did, but
oh yeah, it was completely you guys. Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about what's up new.
Well, it's funny because some of the candidates who have fewer votes could do the same exact thing to us. So. Yes.
It's all on how you spin it.
That's it. So here we are, and 7 of 7 precincts are reporting 100%. You see the results up on your screen. Please do not, anybody who's watching this now, these are so unofficial results because there are possibly double the number that still need to be counted. But this is everybody who voted today in the city of Newport, which was approximately 1,553 according to the canvassing clerk. So these are the numbers. Yeah. And here we have them.
One way to look at this is take a look to the 5 up from the bottom and see what the voter turnout and see how close that bottom group is bunched. And it tells you how you can't come up with any conclusions tonight.
Yeah, it's way too tight. We got to wait and have all the ballots counted, not just tonight's.
And it also, man, does it stress that every single vote possibly counts when you look at the small numbers. I mean, between some of these, only the top 8 move on from here at large to the elite 8 move on to the primary, to the general election.
Is that what we're calling it?
The elite 8?
Let's see. It's a Sweet 16. What do they call the Final Four? Maybe it is the elite 8.
The elite 8.
Yeah, sure.
So the elite 8 move on to November 3rd, and then the Final Four will move on from there and become your next city council. So, and who knows? It could change completely. So
it could. I mean, honestly, if the entire results tonight could be completely flipped on their head with the mail ballots, in theory.
That's it. And we will see. But for at least now, you have reason to celebrate at your campaign headquarters and election night party.
All right. I'm gonna.
Is it a party of one, Jamie?
It's a party of two. My partner is here.
All right. Excellent.
No parties in a pandemic. Come on.
All right. Well, Jamie, I want to thank you for checking in with us. We're glad you did, and we invite any other candidate to join us. Jamie, good luck over the next 48 hours as the final results get tabulated. Want to remind everybody that there is a city council meeting tomorrow night at 6:30
Yes, please listen in. It's very important. Don't get too carried away with looking at the results tonight. Zoom in tomorrow night for the city council meeting. It's always important to join those meetings. Raise your hand, let us know you're there, and let us hear your voice.
All right.
Very
Thank
good.
you, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
Bye.
All right. Jamie Bover, who is the Newport City Council Chair as well as Mayor, joins us. And right now she is sitting on the top there. Make what you want of it, but it gives you an idea, at least, of how people are voting.
Yeah, she's got, when you look down, she's got a pretty decent lead going into the mail-in ballots.
Where do you want to dive next here,
Let's
Frank?
go down to Ward 3. Let's take a look at Ward 3. See how that one is.
And we have 84% of precincts across the state reporting. We will head back to Newport, where there are 3 candidates looking to get top 2 candidates move on to November 3rd. And
that looks, unless something extraordinary happens. Well, let's see. In Ward 3, you've got 564 mail-in ballots. It would be for Rachel to pull this out. She'd have to get more than three quarters of those ballots to be able to get in the top 2. So it looks like it's Marshall and Leonard, but again, you never say it's over till it's over.
That's true. Let's hit statewide summary just to see if there's anything exciting going on a statewide level with some of our congressmen. And there we have the District 2 race. We chatted with Mr. Conley last week or so. And Mr. Langevin is doing pretty well for himself. We move on down. We have a senator in Congress, a Republican. And then we have Lancia, who is looking to be the Republican challenger to Langevin, sitting in there with about 73% of the poll votes thus far.
I think he's from Cranston, but I'm not sure.
It sounds right. Let's touch base quickly here before we dive into another one on the 70s races. And there are a lot of races here, and I've got to find a better way to click them here. I'm using 3 different screens, so pardon me. We are in Portsmouth, Tiverton, Little Compton. We have 2 of 3 precincts reporting at 66%. And right now, Michelle versus John G. Edwards V. And there's not much going on here.
No, not a lot of votes. I don't know how many more will be coming in tonight. I have no clue how many absentees there are in that district.
So 66% there in Portsmouth, Little Compton, and Tiverton. And let's head down further south to Portsmouth in Middletown, which is District 72. And we go there. And there we have 2 of 2 precincts, 100%. And we have Court Vrens, 359 to 111 currently. With 2 of 2 precincts, of course, you still have early voting, which was anybody who went to a city or town hall and voted over the last 2 weeks. And you also have mail ballots, which are going to be tabulated over the next couple days here. So that's in 72.
She's got about a 3-to-1 lead in 72.
And then we dive over to 74, which moved on me. And there it is. And we have 2 of 2, and we are in Jamestown, Middletown right now. And the incumbent has 343 votes. And Middletown Town Councilor Rick Lombardi has 127.
So again, a 3-to-1 margin.
Where else can we hit, Frank? Where else do you want to go here? How about we check in Cranston?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Cranston. Let's take a look. Look at that. Look at Langevin's lead in Cranston.
Yes, 2,152 to 900.
Yeah.
We have 27 of 30 precincts reporting in Cranston. And just scrolling through here, Mr. Mattiello, 390. We have representative.
Well, here's an interesting. We'll move up just a little bit. I don't know anything. Oh, move up a little. Art Handy's been around. He's running unopposed, so he should do pretty well. He should do well if you lose that one. And there's the race for mayor in the city of Cranston,
Which, in all things compared, they had a pretty good turnout today in Cranston.
And that's because if you got the mayor's race up, they have term limits in Cranston. That's why Fung is out of there, and will be out of there. Pretty tight race, I think. Interestingly, his wife is running against Nick Mattiello for state rep, and so that will be interesting to see where that ends up.
Yeah, what number for Mattiello?
Yeah, I don't think she has a challenger, so I don't think that's of any consequence tonight.
Okay,
I can check that quickly.
All right, while you do that, I'll dive into Connecticut Island, see what's happening in Jamestown, if there's anything interesting. The incumbent here, Deb, 245 votes, and Henry Lombardi, 62. We have done Newport. I'll do it again quick while Frank looks that up.
So we're 15. That's rep 15.
And these numbers haven't changed. I'm just bringing them up in case anybody missed them. And, we have one. Let's see here. Among the top 8, we have every incumbent. And then we have Kevin Mashad up there as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Elizabeth Forte and Mrs. Landry as well.
Megan Landry
is up there. So you wanted to go to District 15?
District 15. And it's there's no real contest, but what'll be interesting to see, not Democrat, Republican 15.
Oh, that's why my screen is all. Look at that, huh? That makes more sense.
So
she's winning.
She's winning. What I think would have been important is to see. Now let's go to Democrat 15.
Hold on one second here. I got a message from Steve Brownell on one of our videos and asking about Newport's second ward. Steve, the second ward only had 2 challengers. There was actually a third challenger at the very beginning. She dropped out, leaving only 2. So the 2 do not have a primary in Ward 2 in the city of Newport. So they will move on. Both of them will move on to the general election on November 3rd. Where did you want to go, Frank?
Well, let's go to Democrat 15. See how Mattiello is collecting votes.
We could do that. All right. As soon as I learn how to use my mouse again.
Wow. So that's pretty interesting. She's had a bunch of votes. He hasn't had a whole lot of votes. That could make for an interesting election in November.
Sure could, and let's see what else we have coming in.
Well, let's go to some of those races on the Senate side that are see if there is fairly well contested. Let's go to district. We'll go in order. District 1. That's That's Mary Ellen Goodwin. She's a majority whip, being challenged by Evan Lemoyne, and she's got a pretty solid lead. Let's go to 4. Dominic Ruggiero against Leonard Seo. Oh, wow. That
is a close race.
That's a really close race. And usually Ruggiero had a lot of money in this. So I'll tell you that he had, going into this, he had about $280,000 compared to CO's 2,300. And, that means that he can get people to go out there and help stimulate some mail ballots. But you never know. That seems a real just even that vote is a real repudiation. Let's go over to number 6. See how Harold Metz, the president pro tempore, is looking.
4 of 8, so only 50% of the votes.
Yeah, a lot more to go. So I wouldn't make anything of that.
No.
Let's do Warwick 29, District 29. That is Michael McCaffrey. He is a majority leader in the Senate.
He's ahead with.
Wow! Look at that.
Only 50% of poll votes are in. Again, I'm going to go with there's still probably. I'm going to go with the easy number. There's still probably 50% of votes still to count with mail ballots, as well as 50% to count with the polls here.
But still, a two vote difference. That's pretty amazing. And one more. Let's go to Warwick Mayor if we can.
So Warwick, we're going to go to Mayor. Wow, Conley did pretty well in Warwick. And let's see. I'm getting there. Sometimes there it is. Yeah, and I can scroll back up and see what percent of the vote is in.
75% I saw was in.
Yep.
So, Solomon looks in strong position anyway. Just move up a little bit. I want to point out one name. Scroll up slowly till you get to, there you go. K. Joseph Shakarchi. Shakarchi as a representative, holds one of the key positions in the legislature, forget exactly which one, and he has about $1 million in his campaign account. So you're not going to have many people who are going to be challenging him. He is District 23. Let's see what happens in the general if he's got an opponent. Nope, he's unopposed.
All right. That makes
Sometimes
it easy.
that's what money will do. People take a look at the bank account and say, "I can't match $1 million."
Let's dive back to 71, where we only had about 60% of the vote in earlier, and see if we have 71. 66% still in. So nothing has changed here. There is. Let's see. We could probably tell who's not reporting. Portsmouth is at 100%. Tiverton. So we're waiting on Little Compton. So the District 71 race is waiting on the Little Compton results.
What was Tiverton? What was the total for Tiverton?
Tiverton's
100%?
100%, yeah. So
that's where Edwards would be the strongest because he's a councilman there.
No, he's a councilman in Tiverton. He is, yes.
Yeah.
Little Compton hasn't reported. And let's just see how he did. Well, he actually didn't do good in his hometown yet. This is only at the polls. There's still mail ballots. There's still early voting. But right now, Michelle looks like she did pretty well in Tiverton.
110 votes to 64. It's not a lot.
No. Anywhere else you want to go there, Frank? Well, let's look down to see who we're still waiting on. We're still waiting on Charlestown, Coventry, 10% of Cranston, East Greenwich, East Providence, Johnston, Pawtucket, Providence, South Kingstown, and Warwick and West Warwick are some of the towns we're waiting on. When we look at the statewide summary, we've got 238 of 280. In case people are just joining us and you're in Newport, we'll go over the at-large once more. 7 of 7 precincts reporting. There are 1,600 mail ballot applications that were sent out. There are 200 other votes to count, as well as, let's see here, Tracy said, so these results are from 1,553 people voting today in Newport is what you're looking at. So you can break those numbers down however you want. There's approximately another 1,500, 1,600, 1,700 votes to still count. And there is Ward 3. When you go to Ward 3, you have another 500 Ward 3 mail ballots to count. And Frank, what were the other numbers there? Let's see. Oh, here we go. I have them. 386 mail ballots were requested in Ward 1.
Yep.
652 in Ward 2 and 564 in Ward 3. Those 564 are going to matter here, but it looks like we might have our 1 and 2 already buttoned up. We're going to move on to the November 3rd ballot. As you pointed out, Rachel would need almost all of those mail-in ballots to come back for her.
But it could be an interesting race come November.
And as we go back up, we look, and here's why every single vote matters, folks. 332, 338, 360. It's pretty darn close. So,
yep.
All right, let me give this a refresh, see if we have anything new coming in. Let me check with the Board of Elections quick to see what they are saying. Nothing new there. So results came in quick.
Yeah, a couple other ones we might want to check. Just looking at names that I know are pretty active. Yeah, and this doesn't mean anything because I don't know all that many people in the legislature, but John Lombardi is a pretty familiar name in Rep 8, and he has a primary against Darwin Castro.
And he looks like he will be okay.
It looks like Darwin didn't get the vote. And another one who was in District 35, Spencer Dickinson, who actually ran for governor. Interesting character, Dickinson. And he had a primary going. And
180 to 93 currently.
Yeah, and he was, interestingly, he wasn't the endorsed candidate. So he ran in a primary against the governor. So that might tell you why he wasn't endorsed.
If anybody has any questions, wants to see any race, wants us to explain anything, please just put it in the comments. If you're a candidate watching, or if you voted today, or if you want to share experience, there is a link in the comments as well as on the top where you can click on and join us here on this conversation. We invite everybody to join us, everybody to comment, everybody to ask questions. If you want to see a particular race, if you're not understanding something, ask and we'll try to explain it to the best of our ability. We don't certainly have all the answers. When we go back and look at, let's see here.
Hey, we have to go to Republican 53.
All right. To give you,
I'm not so much interested in the outcome. I just want to see if you can pronounce Zophia's last name.
Representative or senator?
We're looking at Rep.
Republican?
Republican.
Yeah, here we go.
No, well, maybe I got it wrong.
It's all right.
Oh no, I guess maybe she's out. Maybe
time to time.
Let me spell the last name for you. GRZEGORZEWSKA.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
To give you an idea of some past numbers, I pulled the 2016 general election, 2018 statewide primary, 2018 general election, and some of those numbers. So, for example, in 2018, which was a primary in Ward 2, Lynn Segley got 661 total votes. That's all in. When we look at the 2018, let's see here, 2018 general election for council members, Jean Marie Napolitano was a top vote getter with 4,555. Just to give some numbers here. Obviously, there's a difference between the primary and general election, but Angela McCalla won in 2018, Ward 1 with 1,144 votes. Lynn Segley had 1,600 votes, and Kate Leonard, had 1,947 votes, each to win their general election in 2018. So we can see the difference between a primary as well as the difference in mail ballots.
That's for sure. And of course, you know that the general election this year will bring out everybody. The United States has a terrible record of voting. When you take a look at the United States voting versus the other countries that are some of your top level countries, we're way down the bottom when it comes to voting. And so this presidential election, I suspect, will be a huge turnout, and we'll see what happens. Certainly the thing that I cringe at all the time are these efforts at voter suppression, and that's just awful when that happens. Everybody needs an opportunity to vote. I'd like them all to vote the way I'm thinking, but they need to vote. That's the fairest election. And then whoever honestly wins by a majority of votes deserves to be in office, and hopefully they serve the people, whether it be on a local level or on a national level. A lot of what happens to all of us in our everyday lives really depends on the people you're looking at the screen now, the people who run for town council, city council, for school committee. They make decisions that affect us maybe sometimes more directly than those on a national level. Important to get to know these candidates. Important to make these decisions when it comes to November. If you've already made a decision now, it's just a matter of counting your vote if you voted. But now it's to think towards 5-6 weeks away.
That's it. So 1,553 voted at polling locations here in Newport today. I'm just updating our story because people are visiting our site for updates. There are approximately 175 people checking out the city council results at this second. We appreciate it that you're counting on us for results. And, as we move on from here, we have interviewed 18 of the 19 candidates for council, all the different positions. Any results for Cranston mayor, Veronica wants to know. Well, I can bring that up, Veronica. Stand by.
Veronica.
Cranston is only reporting 90%, Veronica, and we are going, there's 27 of 30 precincts reporting, and I'm going to scroll quick here, so hold on, everybody. Here is what we are looking for, mayor of the great city of Cranston. Anything you see there, Frank?
I just think that your mail ballots are going to make a big difference. I don't know how many of those are out in Cranston, but you can figure if you had 1,600 applications in Newport, you've got to be 3-4 times that many in Cranston. Plus, I don't know how many people voted early and in person today in Cranston, so it's pretty close.
And I know, and I've said it a million times, but I just want people to understand that don't get your hopes up or don't get down on any particular candidate this evening, because there are a lot more votes to come in, if not more votes than have already been cast to come in. So this just gives you an idea of how many people have already voted and which way they're going. It could completely flip upside down.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Some of the stuff you see tonight, it's not going to be the same on Friday.
Let's see who we're waiting on here. We are at, well, we're at 85% of precincts across the state reporting. Let's take a look at statewide. Langevin is double of Conley at this point.
And I would think Langevin would have done a good job with mail-in ballots.
And then we can jump over to our, we're only waiting on 71 for Aquidneck Island races, and that is here. And we're still waiting on Little Compton. District 71 is Portsmouth, Tiverton, Little Compton, and Little Compton has not recorded any votes yet.
It may not until, I know like in Westerly, you don't get their votes until the next day. They move at their own pace.
Let's pop down to Westerly.
All the way.
Yeah, Frank is on the radio down in Westerly quite often, and let's see what the great city to the south. See if you recognize anything here.
Go back up, Brian Patrick Kennedy. That's a pretty close race. Holy mackerel! What's the percentage of votes in?
It is 100%, but is it more than one town?
He's a state rep. Yeah.
Well, let's go to this. Let's go there, and then he was 38. So that's all the votes for that particular race.
So that's pretty tight. It'll be interesting to look at the mail-in ballots for that. Kennedy has been very strong in that area. One of the strong representatives in the General Assembly, and also one of the ones that has usually has a considerable war chest as well. So.
And all of these results are unofficial, and they will be updated throughout the next couple of days. As we pop around, let's see, we're on Jamestown. We see that Deb is winning her hometown here. We jump over to Middletown and see what's going on. Remember, many of these rep and senator seats represent more than one town, so this is just how that one town voted. You can see Terry in Middletown, which represents Middletown and Portsmouth, portions of each. Is 153 to 60. Deb
is a former councilman from Middletown, I believe.
Yes, sir. And then 98-65 with a current councilor in Henry Rick Lombardi. We make our way down. We have done Newport a bunch. We'll head over to Portsmouth. And we see there that in Portsmouth, Michelle, who is a resident of Portsmouth, has a lead over John G. Edwards, the fifth, 151 to 45. And Terry, who is a resident of Portsmouth, has 206 over 51 over Chris Seminelli. Oh, and then we have district committees, which we're not even going to get into those right now. Tiverton, we jump over. Michelle's got 110 over 64. Of note, John Edwards is a current Tiverton Town Council member. And then district committee. And then we are not getting anything for Little Compton at this time. And just a reminder for those just tuning in, here is Newport, and 100% of votes in, 100% of poll votes are in, many more votes in all of these races across the state to still come in. And a couple surprises that catch me is this one here. Paul Marshall did very good at the polls today.
Yes, he did.
In Ward 3. And then as we look at it, we have the incumbents. who are Bova, Napolitano, Taylor, McLaughlin as well. And then you have Segley, who is moving from Ward 2 to at-large. So that is where we're at there. And so we got results pretty quick. You don't have to wait hours anymore.
Yeah, no, good. A good system tonight. See what happens in November.
All right. Oh, and what I was saying earlier is we have interviewed, we tried to get as many primary voters as we could, primary elections as we could leading up to this. And now as we move forward from this, probably starting next week, once we have a definite of who is moving to November 3rd, we'll start having and focusing on other races, such as the Middletown Town Council and Newport School Committee and Tiverton and Little Compton and Portsmouth and more Middletown and other races across the state. So just because we didn't get to a race yet, we were trying to get all the primary in. We'll certainly get them down the road. I know for an example, we'll be hosting a forum, a conversation between the Ward 2 candidates in Newport. And so we'll be doing that closer to the general election on November 3rd. So
we'll try for the congressional candidates, for General Assembly, and we're even open. Trump or Biden want to pop in, we're happy to talk to them.
yeah, absolutely. And one more time, we're at 85% still. And Frank, did we miss anything tonight? Any other big takeaways, information, anything we have?
I don't think so. I think the big thing is we just got to wait on the mail-in ballots. That's going to tell the story.
And here we are.
I can tell you definitively, I would project that Jack Reed is a winner for the Democratic nomination for Senate.
He looks like he did all right.
I would go along with Cicilline also. I would call him, I'd project him as a winner.
All right, we could do that. I wish I had a breaking news graphic so it could be like Wolf Blitzer and every time I refresh, breaking news now in.
I like the way they do this, though. I like seeing what the results by city and town, what the percentages are in, and you can just pop on and see what some of these towns are doing if you have any interest.
Yeah, and we're going to sit at 85%. It looks like for a while, so there might be some communities slower than others. We're waiting on Central Falls. Charlestown hasn't reported at all. Little Compton hasn't reported at all. Pawtucket, is still missing 17%. Providence is missing 12%. South Kingstown is still missing. Warwick, West Warwick. So still a couple of races, but of course, all of this is unofficial. Still mail ballots, still early voting to count. Don't get down if you see your candidate is not where you want him or her to be, and don't get too excited if your candidate is where you want them to be, because it could all change up. So,
and thinking ahead as a voter, if you want to vote by mail ballot, get your application in as early as you can, and vote as early as you can. There are going to be drop boxes in every community where you can drop your ballot in. I would, if you're going to wait until the last few days, I would not rely upon the Postal Service. I would make sure I get it in. You can drop it off. You can put it in these drop boxes. But first of all, you have to respond when they come in with the application, and there will be a ton of them.
There will be. So get on it, and you can visit. Let's see here if I can do this. Vote.sos.ri.gov, and you can come right on this website, and you will see that the voter registration deadline for November 3rd is October 4th. The mail ballot application deadline is October 13th. So you can print a mail ballot application, send it in, and then you'll get a ballot and that process. And then in-person voting, and you could vote at your city or town hall for the November general election between October 14th and November 2nd. Plenty of ways to vote.
Just do it.
Just do it. All right, Mr. Prosnitz. Well, I want to thank you for joining me this late at night. I know And here we are. And I will leave the results refreshing on the screen for a little while. But you and I are going to head off and
Sounds good to me.
take care of business. All right, Mr. Prosnitz, thank
All
you.
right, hey, I'll catch up with you tomorrow, Ryan.
All right, I'll see you then. All right, on behalf of Mr. Frank Prosnitz, as well as myself, we want to thank you for watching tonight. Again, these numbers are unofficial, and we will keep you updated as we see and get more information. We expect everything on unofficial final results Thursday afternoon, Friday. Again, we expect in Newport they will be sooner than later, due to a lottery scheduled on Friday afternoon at 1:30, where they will pull the names of how city council members appear on the November 3rd ballot. So we expect them soon. So what I'll do is I will leave the screen up for a little while and let people. Thanks for watching.